9.3 Nigeria Info. How worried is the PDP about Keyamo's case against Atiku? How worried is the PDP about Keyamo's case against Atiku? It's the road to February, where we talk about the biggest stories already shaping the elections this year. There's a lot of things happening on the campaign trail. You need information so that you can vote wisely when we get to February 25th and again in March 2023, March 11th for the governorship elections. And speaking of February, it's exactly 32 days until the general elections on February 25th, 2023. It's 1 month and 1 day away. Yes, I was trying to remember how far away we are from elections, presidential elections day. 32 days away, you know. And one of the candidates on the presidential ballot on that day will be Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. At least that's if Festus Keyamo doesn't win the court case that he just brought to the Federal High Court in Abuja. Keyamo is asking the court to force the EFCC to prosecute Atiku over the so-called SPV affair. Now, today I'm joined by a spokesperson of the Atiku campaign. We're going to be talking about the economy, we'll talk about security, but we're also going to talk about SPVs, contracts for votes, and the G5. Ilemon Onoja, welcome back to Hard Facts.
Hello. Hi, Sandra. It's been a long time since you brought me onto your program, so I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here today. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And I'd like to start with a small correction. I'm not a spokesperson for the campaign. I'm head of the new media department for the presidential campaign.
Okay, head of new media department for the presidential campaign. Lagos, we want to hear from you as well. What questions do you have for Ilemona Onoja about his candidates' policies, about all the stories in the headlines? You can go ahead and give us a call. We have just one number working, so everybody has to call that number, 01-465-7190. First of all, Ilemona, your campaign just announced that you were approaching the court to disqualify the APC's Bola Tinubu over his alleged asset forfeiture case. Tell us about that.
Okay, so there is a very simple thing. When the courts, one of the things that, one of the bases established by the Constitution that you can, for which a person can be disqualified is a falsification of his asset declaration forms. It's one of the bases now. It's a very simple thing. In, I think it was 2011 or 2012 or so, he was dragged before the Code of Conduct Bureau, over allegations that he had falsified the information in his asset declaration forms. Now, one of the things that the Code of Conduct Bureau can do is give a declaration preventing him from holding any political office in the future for a period of time. Now, the thing about it is he was discharged on account of a technicality in 2012, I think it was. Can't remember the year specifically, but I remember the facts. He was discharged on account of a technicality. Right. Now, he wasn't acquitted. If he was acquitted, if he was discharged and acquitted, the Code of Conduct Bureau will not be in the position to bring those same charges against him. But because the Code of CCB recognized that it was a technicality, discharged him, presenting the opportunity for those charges to be brought against him again in the future. Now, the Code of Conduct Bureau, in its submissions during the case of the EFCC versus Bukola Saraki, cited, and this is not just the Bureau, the tribunal, stated that it erred in law when it relied on that technicality to dismiss the charges against Bola Tinubu. So by itself, the court, established by the Constitution, is saying it discharged Bola Tinubu over allegations of falsification of his asset declaration forms. We made a mistake. And our position is very simple. Seeing as the court that discharged him the last time said that they made a mistake, why are you not trying him now? Try him. There is substantial evidence before the court that the court admits that it wrongly considered and made a mistake on to try him again. Try him before the courts. And then if you admit that you made a mistake before when you let him go, what you have effectively told the Nigerian people is that you have substantial enough evidence for which he can be convicted. What that means is that by inference, by necessary inference, the court, not me, not my personal opinion, not the opinion of any of the members of the party, by necessary inference, what the court has told the Nigerian people is this man has issues for which he can be convicted. This man has issues for which he should be convicted, as a result of which our simple position is if a court is saying that when we let this man go, we made a mistake, he shouldn't be allowed to contest an election.
You know,
it's a very simple thing.
We talked about this earlier today, and my listeners kept asking, why did the PDP wait until now to take this case to court? Because, why did the PDP wait until Keyamo took Atiku to court before going to court on Tinubu's matter?
Up until now, what the PDP has been so...
Are you there? Hello? Ilamona? Oh, that's unfortunate. We're going to have to give him a call back. I do hope the call screeners are on standby and they can give us Ilemona back on the show. If you just tuned in, Lagos, we are talking about a bunch of things, focusing on the Atiku campaign. Like I said, there's 32 days, before the presidential elections on November 25. February 25. I don't know why my mind is on November. Well, I'm thinking about the U.S. elections. Yeah, February 25, 2023. And there's a lot that has happened on the campaign trail. And there's a lot of headlines from one of the major candidates in the race. And we are struggling to get Ilemona back on the line. However, some of the things that Ilemona and I will talk about will include, like you have just heard, the court case by the APC against the PDP and the PDP against the APC. He was addressing that. We're also going to move on into the SPV's accusation, right? So we have this whistleblower, Mike Achimugu, who claims to be a former aide of Atiku Abubakar. So we're also going to get into that a bit. Hopefully we're able to reconnect with Ilemona over the phone. I have so many questions, on that. But away from all of the headlines, you have some of the plans that the presidential candidate of the PDP has spoken about on the record. So he has talked about what their plans for security are, talked about what the plan for the economy is. All of that we will have as the show goes on. I would love to get questions from you as well, Lagos, while we are working on getting Ilemona back on the show. So go ahead and send those questions to us over WhatsApp. I would say you should call, but if you call, we will not have the lines clear to be able to get Ilemona back on the show. So go ahead and send in those questions over WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. You can also tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM. You can share your thoughts via Facebook, where we're streaming live. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Okay, let's see. All right, so Ilemona appears to be in Delta State, where they have a rally, where the PDP has a rally. And so because of that, I don't think that we're going to be able to reach him, but we're going to keep trying. It has been difficult, but we're going to keep trying. Okay. I think at this point, I can just open it up to Lagos, right? Let me hear your thoughts on this back and forth between the PDP camp and the APC camp. Just one number available, 01465-7190. 01465-7190. What do you think about the fact that we have members of these political parties, from the PDP, from the APC, taking each other to court, trying to disqualify the principles of the different political parties over corruption allegations. What do you think about people who say, oh, why did PDP wait until now to make this happen? What do you think about those who say, oh, the APC has no moral right to be dragging the PDP to court because of all the allegations that their own candidate has to answer? 99.3, hello. Sorry about that. Give us a call back if you can. 99.3, hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How you doing, sir?
Hello, this is Emeka calling from Airport Road.
Emeka from Airport Road. Welcome.
Oh, my whole position is this, Are they going to arrest them or try them or just we are doing for fun?
Are they going to what?
Are they going to try the presidential candidate, the PDP presidential candidate and the APC presidential candidate?
Are they going to try them? Well, it will depend on if a court of law actually finds them guilty of a crime. I think we have Lemona back on the line now. Hi, Lemona, are you back on the line?
I could talk on this phone, so you can call me back on this phone.
Okay, let's just stay. Since you're here, let's just stay. I'll give you a call back in 10 seconds. Is that okay? Okay. All right, then. So we have Ilomena back on the line so that we can go back to hearing from the horse's mouth, or as close from the horse's mouth as one can hear, right? Okay. Ilomena, good to have you back on the show. Hi.
Okay, so I was saying, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to the network.
We thought they arrested you.
Nobody's going to arrest you. Okay, so we focused on the policy because the first objective of any campaign is to sell. It's to sell the candidate, to sell his ideas, it's to sell his policy propositions. So we focused on that. And we've tried to stay away from all these other brickbats and all the other name callings and all the other things.
Again, you're talking about why you didn't go to court, right? Sooner.
We're talking, yes, that's where I am.
Yeah.
We are in the place where we believe we should tell people more about why they should vote for us than why they should not vote for other people. But constantly, there is analysis going on and there's a constant appraisal of situations and circumstances to the point where if we see that, the law is on our side and we could get a significant rival disqualified from the elections, why not? It's not only does it give us an electoral benefit, it also gives us, it's to the advantage of the Nigerian people, it's to the benefit of the Nigerian people to have someone who doesn't have who has these sorts of very substantial allegations leveled against him and that have been, admitted by a court to make sure that such a person doesn't have the, capacity or doesn't have the opportunity to again burn Nigeria and then replicate these issues on a wider national scale. So of course we're here trying to accrue a benefit, but also there's the altruistic thing that everybody must accept, whether we, if there's an opportunity to prevent somebody from pillaging and pilfering common patrimony, or from violating our constitutions and provisions of our laws, then why not?
Why not? Okay. Well, let's move from your party's case against the APC candidate to the APC.
It's not a panic case. We did an analysis and we reached the opportunity where we had some insight. It's not a panic case.
No, I said party's case. Your party. Party.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So let's move to the APC's case against your own candidate, the SPVs. We've all heard the recording by now, which Mike Achimugu released. He claims to be a former aide of your principal. The recording purportedly has Atiku talking about setting up SPVs fronted by friends to be awarded government consultancies as a way to get money from government indirectly. First of all, what is your campaign's official response or position to these allegations?
Our official response is, and they've gone to court, and I'm going to respond as two things. One, we've gone to court because the matter is sub judice. Let's not talk about it.
Okay.
Right? There's that response.
Okay.
There's a case involved.
Yeah.
But there's also the response of people who say, we're not lawyers on the, for the parties. And even a conversation improves our jurisprudence. A conversation around this improves our jurisprudence and the knowledge of the law.
Okay.
Right? So we can also have conversations.
Okay.
Now, what is an SPV? You know, an SPV, special purpose vehicle. And I think everybody knows this. I won't talk too much. So you set up a company that can carry out ventures for the purposes of financial benefits, right? We must remember two things that come from that recording. The voice that purported to be the voice of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said two things that everybody must remember. I don't want any open corruption. Now, why does he say that? We just came back from an era, remember, where the military had just pillaged Nigeria for years on end, and we had just recovered from, we're just 9 months away from the most kleptocratic government in our national history. The government of late General Sani Abacha, where people literally just strolled into CBN and strolled out with billions and billions of dollars that we're still recovering to this day. Remember that. Establish that. Right? So that was the backdrop. And the person is saying, I'm not going to do what you said. I should just give people contracts. I don't want that. That's open corruption. I don't want that. So set up a company. Now, like I've once said, if people want to have a proper conversation around this, what we'll be talking about is reform of party financing. But people don't want to have that conversation. They want to immediately weaponize stuff. So let's follow them. If you look at it, there are allegations here. Remember, two things. Okay, the first thing was I don't want any open corruption. Second thing was no money came to me. Not 1 naira came to me. So these allegations are exactly what they are. They're political big brother. They're designed to entertain. They're designed to distract from the substantial. So they went for the sensational. And beyond this, there's nothing that you can say that Atiku Abubakar is guilty of.
Okay. First,
and how so?
Before we move further, Ilemona, before we move further, is Mike Achimugu indeed a former aide of Atiku Abubakar?
He worked for support groups. He worked in support groups.
In support groups.
In support groups.
Was that Atiku's voice on that recording?
I will not. That is not a determination that I will use. I will continually say the voice that is purported to be Atiku Abubakar's voice, and I will just leave it there.
You leave it there.
They've gone to court. Yes, I will leave it there. They've gone to court. They are going to. Let's do all that.
Okay. Okay.
I will go to the substantial conversation. Right.
However, before you go there, I want to pick on something you said. You said that the guy, your principal said, I don't want any open corruption.
The voice wanted to be my principal.
Yes. However, saying I don't want any open corruption, that doesn't mean I don't want any corruption. It sounds a lot like let's have coded corruption.
Even if the man had said, let's have, how am I going to put this? You now have to come to where the substantial is. And this is where I was trying to go. He said, form an SPV. Come and get contracts. The Obasanjo administration, the Obasanjo Atiku administration, were responsible for the establishment of the Public Procurement Act. Remember that.
Right.
So, to be able to get any government contracts, you have to follow a procurement process.
Right.
So when the man says to you, I don't want any open corruption, he's telling you, go and follow a process. It's really simple. You can't be awarded a government contract that doesn't follow the provisions of the Public Procurement Act. If these allegations were substantial, people will come and tell you that contract A did not follow the process. There was no open tender. There was not a bid process, and so on and so forth. Nobody has said that. Nobody has said any of the contracts that were awarded to the company in question, Marine Float, violated the provisions of the Public Procurement Act. You know why they can't say so?
Why?
It doesn't exist. Simply doesn't exist. For the people who are doing all this dramatic, if it existed, they would have said it. For the people who are doing political big brother and sensationalizing and releasing albums that they are posting on Facebook and music videos, if it existed, they would have said it. Do you know the reason why they can't say it? It doesn't exist.
Okay.
If there was substantial, if there was anything substantial in these allegations, what you would have heard was that, another thing you would have heard is that, oh, a contract that was awarded and was paid for was not executed. Have you heard that? It doesn't exist. You would have heard that a contract that was awarded was overpaid for. Have you heard that? It does not exist. There's no substance to these allegations. That's the reason why there's dramatics around it. There's press conferences around it. There's music videos around it. It is political Big Brother. It is designed to distract and entertain, as opposed to sensational rather than substantial. If you look at Festus, and this is me, and I'm taking shots, and I will take the shots. Festus Keyamo has been EFCC's prosecutor for decades, for more than a decade. He has a very poor record of successful prosecution of EFCC cases. And the extant case, this issue, where he shouted SPVs up and down, shows why he prefers the sensationalism attached with it, rather than the substantial. And no court is going to convict anybody on the basis of sensationalism. Where we are, we're a nation of laws, and we have laws for a reason. That people should not be able to wake up and weaponize these sorts of allegations against people. This right here, what you're seeing on this matter, is a political depiction of the reason why we came out and fought for NSAS.
Ilamona.
Hold on, let me finish.
You've been talking for quite a bit.
To stay and weaponize allegations against people.
You've been talking for quite a bit.
Okay,
and I have a bunch of
I came here to answer questions. I'm here.
All right, cool. I like that you went to party funding, right? And I want to talk about that. You're saying that we will have corruption until we have enough legal money coming into political parties.
I did not see anything of the sort. Nothing of the sort.
Okay. In this election cycle, we've seen serious crowdfunding attempts from supporters of some political parties. So is the problem really that we don't have a legal party funding, or is the problem that the established parties for the last 2 decades
I will tell you that,
have not really cultivated that?
I will tell you that
because corruption money is
a member of the People's Democratic Party since the year 2000. And I can say this year on year, election on election, including in this election cycle, the People's Democratic Party raises money from its membership base. The People's Democratic Party raises money from its, from home and from far and wide, from individuals and from corporate organizations. Year on year, the party. So I do not say anything about party being funded by corruption. But I will tell you something. If people were being honest, if people were going to have a proper conversation, right? What they would be saying is, should we potentially look at cases where corporate organizations make donations to political parties? Does it necessarily mean that there's corruption there somewhere? That's a conversation to be had. There's the jurisprudential conversation to be had. But anybody who says
if PDP has been raising funds from its membership, why did you say that the real problem was party funding and we're not ready to have that conversation?
Say that again.
If PDP has been raising funds from its membership, why did you say that the real problem was party funding and we're not ready to have that conversation?
And I will answer your question. Your question being that if we're in a place where people can say, oh, because this person is a member of this company, and then the person gets a contract, executes the contract and says, okay, I'm going to donate a portion of my profits to the company, if we can get, or to the ruling party or to a political party, there's a conversation to be had there as to whether or not there's propriety.
Okay.
As of today, it is not illegal.
Okay.
As of today, it is not illegal.
Okay.
It is not illegal for a corporate. It is not illegal for a corporate organization to say, "Oh, I executed a contract and I wanted to give a portion of my profit to a political party."
Hold that thought. We're going to come back to that thought, and we're also going to talk about Atiku Abubakar's assessment of what the key security problems are and how he plans to tackle them when we come back from this break. Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. I've got a member of the Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP on the show. Don't go away.
Coming up, we'll be back in a moment.
Moves dream challenges motivate us, but sometimes when the journey gets tiring, all we need is something to push our limits.
Liverpool are majestic. You can't coach against this.
City have to defend for 6 minutes. They do not want to attack this. Felon Mendy across into the penalty area, headed down by the Madrid players. Still Madrid hopping around City's penalty box. A chance could come for them. It's 1-1 on the night. It's 4-5 for Nabigaz. Here it comes. It's 2-2. They are back.
Incredible. One of the great nights as a radio football commentator, certainly. Was special. It was special. You could sense it. So I literally could sense a potential comeback, and I wasn't surprised that it happened. But you know how I was still able to articulate my words after that goal came in, something magical. So one of those great nights.
Thanks, Alexander.
Liverpool are majestic. You can't coach against this. I'm a sucker for Trent. You know, if he wasn't a Liverpool player, I would wear a jersey with Trent at the back. That was special. It was a free kick from about 38, 40 yards against Chelsea, a team I somehow don't fancy. It was special, and I fell off the seat. It's a classic. I don't think any commentator has been able to do that.
Every day is a new experience for me here. And look, see how excited I was coming into this studio. It was like a kid in a candy shop. What I enjoy doing the most here, let me put it in my own words, is Dear Bumi, because it's relaxing, it's hilarious. And of course, I for the life of me, I would never miss doing programs with Sheriff in the morning. It's one of the best, that's what keeps me alive and going. I think the one that I would remember the most, believe you me, is the one I did with Made Kuti, Femi's son. Every time I looked at, every time I think of the young guy, I feel so inspired because I'm always thinking of tomorrow. I'm youth driven. I'm not saying I'm a youth, but I'm youth driven. Oh, the best thing about being a radio show host is when people hold your hand in public, they pray for you, they send you messages and appreciate what you're doing. Because it's, apart from it being a big job, it's a sacrifice. If you want to do this job well, it is a big, big sacrifice. I'm not known to be a liar. I'm somebody who, and the reason why I don't lie about certain things is I don't want to be caught out. Okay, so if I overslept, you hear me on radio saying, sorry I came late, I overslept. I don't want anybody telling me that this is what happened. I'm very conscious of that. So I don't think I ever lied not to be on air. I'd have called ahead to say, because I'm a professional to the core, and you can ask those who work with me. If I can't make it, sometimes I'd call Sheriff in the morning and say, Sheriff, let me, I'm tired. If I'm tired, I'm tired, So I don't think I've been caught out as such. I can't remember any time.
As the next president of Nigeria, I get the experience where you go fit use take make our country better. People of Nigeria, for this and many other better things when in don't vocalize, it good make we all vote Ashiwa Tupola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Ashim Shetima as vice president. Vote APC.
Book a ride on Anaya to move around Lagos. From Lekki to Oshodi, from anywhere to everywhere. Try Anaya and you won't go back to your old ways of moving around Lagos. Hurry and download Anaya app today and get your first ride for free using the promo code FIRSTRIDE. Anaya, ANAYER. The power to move.
Isn't it beyond extraordinary? Owning a smartphone with a distinctive retractable portrait lens camera on an eco-friendly back cover, designed with a sleek cinema-like mute-smooth screen, a super fast charge battery, and PC-level large memory? Go for the new Techno Phantom X2 today and get a free Phantom razor toothbrush or a trolley travel case. Also enjoy 24 months warranty, 100 days broken screen warranty, and free data on a 5G network for up to 12 months. Hurry now to select retail stores while offer lasts. T's and C's apply. Techno, stop at nothing.
Please listen to this public service announcement. Are you or anyone around you having rashes on the face, hands, feet, and any part of the body that may be filled with liquid or pus? With or without a sudden fever, headache, body pain, and weakness, you may be infected with monkeypox. Monkeypox is an infectious disease transmitted from animals to humans and from humans to humans. To protect yourself and loved ones, avoid contact with sick or dead animals. Avoid skin-to-skin contact with persons infected with or showing symptoms of monkeypox. Do not share, touch, or handle clothing and personal items of an infected person. Stay safe by washing your hands frequently with soap under running water, especially after caring for or visiting sick people. Early detection saves lives.
If you or anyone around you shows symptoms, please visit the nearest health facility for treatment to help stop the spread of the disease. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Health, NCDC, and partners.
Many people they ball, but some people they call them agbabola. Why? Because they know they carry second. Join Roberto Carlos, the new Bet-Winner Africa ambassador, for the winning side. Make yourself they win like no tomorrow.
Roberto Carlos looking for the bend.
All you guys do now to join the Bet-Winner draw. Visit Bet-Winner NG on social media, answer the question correctly, and use the fit on Bet-Winner Agbabola, just like Roberto Carlos. Terms and conditions apply, Sha.
My people, it's that time once again. Hammer chance here again, so my people don't go. You gotta take good care of your skin, gotta check on your skin so it's not like sandpaper. Make sure you rub your hands, oh yeah. Make sure you rub your legs and your face, oh yeah. Thanks to Vaseline, everything's so smooth.
Vaseline Petroleum Jelly shields you from the harsh effects of Hamatan. Created to lock in moisture, Vaseline keeps your skin smooth, soft, and protected.
So soft, and thanks to Vaseline.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. 32 days away from the presidential election on February 25th, 2023. One of the candidates on the presidential ballot that day is Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. Today, I am joined by the head of new media for his presidential campaign, Ilemona Onoja, who is also a lawyer, by the way, as you can hear from the carefully thought out answers that he's sharing with me on the show, doing his best to give me not answers. Ilemona, thank you for sticking around.
Sandra, I'm giving you solid answers.
Thank you for sticking around, Ilemona. Ilemona, I was asking you before the break about the SPVs, and I want us to quickly wrap it up and then move on to other stuff. Yeah,
I will answer conclusively on this matter. It is there is absolute, anybody who takes that matter to court like Keyamo does, is just going to leave the courtroom with egg on his face. And the court is just going to tell you that this is a waste of the court's time. I'll tell you guys something. One of these allegations formed the substance for the conviction against, some part of the substance of the conviction against former Governor Joshua Darie of Plateau State, right? And in those allegations, where this matter was tried by the Federal High Court and then upheld all the way to the Supreme Court, the judiciary, the judicial arm of our government, exculpated, the duo of former President Obasanjo and then the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, on these allegations of financial impropriety and corruption. The court went ahead and convicted Joshua Darie, and that conviction was upheld all the way up to the Supreme Court. Political party, that is weaponizing this silly SPV story, the APC, is the party that pardoned Joshua Darie and made sure that he didn't serve his punishment for his corruption. They can't be the person to come here and come and tell us that this is salacious.
So you're saying that there's nothing about using SPVs while in office as vice president that your principal has to defend. Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that.
Okay.
Friends, people say that we're going to bid for contracts. If there is no violation of the provisions of our law, the Public Procurement Act, then there's nothing.
Okay.
As of yet, there is no violation of the provisions of the Public Procurement Act.
Okay.
1. 2, if nobody can come and say to you that this contract was awarded illegally, nothing. If nobody can say to you that this contract was awarded, paid for, and was not executed, nothing. If nobody can say to you that this contract was awarded, was overpaid for, nothing.
If the bidding process was going to be blind and transparent, why was the person on the recording asking for the names of the people who will be on the board of the SPV?
Remember that the allegation in the first place was, remember that story, that conversation was purportedly started in response to an allegation that somebody made on Twitter. And then he gave the voice purporting to be Atiku Abubakar gave a factual recount of something that had happened. Remember that. Remember also that there's substantial, there's enough for anybody who wants to be honest about this to say this is a non-issue.
Ilamana, let's move on. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about security. This year, we've already seen multiple security incidents: train kidnaps, church kidnaps, lynchings, shootings, bombings. Summarize for Lagos Atiku Abubakar's assessment of what the key security problems are and how he plans to tackle them.
In summary, we realize, my presidential candidate and political party realizes that there are a number of problems. First things first, we simply don't have enough people in our security our security architecture to meet our security needs. We need to employ more people into our security agencies. Our presidential candidate believes that we need to put in there between 500,000 and 1 million more people across the different arms of our security agencies. So that means the police, the army, the air force, the Navy, customs, immigration, and whatever have you. We need to upscale in large quantities the number of people we have in our security agencies. 1. 2, we realize that there is a lack of interagency cohesion. So the military has information and is working across purposes with the Air Force, that is working across purposes with the police, that is working across purposes, and there's no interagency cohesion and coordination. We need to bring that. 3, accountability. Our security budget has more than quadrupled from, I think, 290 billion in 2015. No, 890 billion, more than doubled, from 890 billion in 2015 to more than 1.9 trillion, what am I saying? To more than 2 trillion in 2021, right? So we're not getting the result for the resources that we are putting in. There has to be a better application of the resources. 3, we need to do the diplomatics. The West African sub-region, particularly through Nigeria, has become a region where there is a free flow of light arms and assault weapons. Our borders are porous. We need to stop that flow of light arms and assault weapons into our territory. That way, when we degrade the capacity of terrorists who plague us, they will not be able to rearm. 5, we need to deploy technology. In this day and age, by God goodness, how are we unable to track people who take arms and ammunition in large quantities across our territory, who move funding and financing in large quantities through our banking system? How are we simply unable to track them? We need to track them better. We need to be able to precision, with pinpoint accuracy, identify their locations so that we're able to degrade their capacity to attack us and our people. In a nutshell, these 5 key things are the policy fulcrum, the security policy fulcrum of the Atiku candidature.
Okay. I want to come back to the first point you made about recruitment. Like many of his opponents, your candidate's plan on security relies heavily on hiring more operatives, right? And also re-equipping them, right? These things are all heavily dependent on increasing both capital expenditure and recurrent expenditure. Now, PDP was in government for a long time, and we had money at the time, and we didn't invest in these things. If your candidate wins now, he's going to be inheriting record levels of debt, low oil output, debt payments that are eating over 90% of revenue to pay for his security plan. This one that you've just summarized. What other areas of the budget will your candidate have to cut?
And this has actually spoken very heavily about reducing by removing fuel subsidies. We've come to the conclusion it has to go. It is the manner of how it goes that is the issue. But we've already done an open commitment to removing fuel subsidies, so that the monies that are generated from there you are able to redirect that. Right? On the one hand, on the other hand, we spoke not just about improving Nigeria's oil output, but also about improving Nigeria's output as a whole. We are perhaps in the last 20 years at our least productive. Our farms don't produce anymore. Our manufacturing is on decline. The only thing that has held steady over the course of the last several years has been telecoms, the PDP policy. We need massive use. And this is government's proposition. This is our simple proposition. Remove government from a lot of these spaces, a lot of these business spaces. In doing that, one, you will cut your expenditure profile, but also you will invest private sector capital into critical parts of the economy that will then give you the revenue accrued from taxes that can help you finance your government, that helps you go back to the place where you intend to stop. That's largely how you finance your budget. Our candidate has also spoken. About approaching our creditors to seek one of two things, either debt forgiveness or debt restructuring, so that we're able to reposition our payments in a manner that it frees up revenue that we can then use to secure our people, to do, the sort of critical infrastructure that we require. If we also consider that, again, what we're proposing is that for a lot of our infrastructural development needs, we want to invite private sector equity and capital and funding to build critical infrastructure. And that means that government now doesn't have to spend a lot of money on those things, on that infrastructure. Instead, it can direct its funding, its revenue, towards security, towards healthcare, towards education. So in answering your security question, I'm also answering how we intend to fund our healthcare, how we intend to fund our education.
Okay, you talked as well about the defense budget skyrocketing without improved results. This could be for different reasons, right? So A, the budget is inflated because of corruption. B, the money is not being used efficiently. C, the money is being used well, but simply has never been enough because defense has always been underfunded. Which of these does your candidate think is the case?
We think that it is that the budgets are not being applied judiciously. They're not being applied efficiently and effectively. We also believe that there are cases of corruption in there. I cannot say that conclusively because, investigations have to be conducted into that. But we believe that if we open that Pandora's box, we will see evidence of corruption. But over and above that, we believe that even what is not being that what it is not being applied effectively. It is not being applied in the best manners. We're not getting the best sort of equipment for our money. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, the federal government paid, how much was it, for Tucano jets? I like to be fact-checked on this. I really like to be fact-checked on this. The federal government paid for Tucano jets and paid more than twice what the quoted price of those jets were. A couple of years ago, we're saying that already means that you do not get value for your money. Anybody wants to fact-check me on this? I cannot remember the specific figures, but I can say convincingly, with the full conviction of my chest, that we paid more than twice the quoted price, the price approved by the Pentagon for the sale of those jets. Is that when you have those sorts of situations, obviously, on the one hand, there's corruption. Obviously, on the other hand, you're not using the best. That's not the best application of your security budget. As such, your security outcomes will naturally decline and your people will suffer, which is simply what is happening to us. My candidate is saying, let's fix that.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the economy because we have very little time left. What sectors of the economy does your candidate believe should be the key drivers of growth in the next 4 years? How does he intend to stimulate them?
We believe that key drivers of growth should be agriculture. Now, when this government has been mouthing off about agriculture for the last several years, it literally has been telling people to go back to the farm. We're not telling people to go back to the farm. We're talking about establishing an agricultural value chain that looks all the way from seed production through to the actual farming of the crop, improving crop yield per hectare, right? Improving storage, improving processing, improving transportation, all of which is designed to ensure that when the product comes to the market to sales, it does two things. One, it comes at a value that people can afford. And two, it comes in standard that meets international standards that we can then export. So that we are able to drive through that. Agriculture is the largest employer of labor in our country. That through that, we're able to drive the production, processing, storage, transportation, and sale of food. So our people don't have to go back to the farms. They're not going back to the farms to be able to participate in the agricultural industry. They're looking across the broad spectrum of what constitutes the agricultural value chain and finding different places to plug in. One. Two, we believe that manufacturing, we have to do substantially better than we currently do. Far too much of our daily needs and requirements as a country are manufactured elsewhere. Now, this is not me advocating against importation. That thing is always, I don't believe you as a country can manufacture everything. But you need to, as a country, get your manufacturing sector going. So you're either manufacturing clothes, you're manufacturing shoes, you're manufacturing other, consumables, you're manufacturing, until you get to a place where you manufacture quite a substantial amount of your daily needs, then you improve. You will improve your economy. So primarily, agriculture, manufacturing, sweet tech. Now, over the last couple of years, we've seen the tech sector hold strong in terms of its year-on-year growth of the sector. However, we see that the sector has grown in spite of government, not because government has put active policies to support that. So we need to put in place, the sort of structure that ensures that our talent pool improves. What do I mean by that? Much of Nigeria's tech talent is self-taught. We don't have a STEM policy that actively encourages, trains the growth of our tech talent in a proper system.
Okay,
we simply don't.
So we've got 4 minutes left, and I have to come back to a point that you made about storage and transportation. How do you get the private sector to invest in storage and transportation? Very quickly,
concessions. You give concessions, licensing. You give licensing. I will tell you, say for instance, from Kogi State, a lot of what we produce simply doesn't make it away from the farms because it rots. Benue State, maybe 70% of Benue State's entire agricultural output year on year rots because we don't have the storage facilities. Concessions, credit, bring the private sector to buy these things from the markets and store, and then privatize your infrastructure, roads. Let private sector equity build roads for us. And finally, to be able to fix your storage, you have to fix power.
Good. I'm glad you went to power. I'm glad you went to power because manufacturing also relies on power. And it relies on rail. Will Atiku push for general electrification, or will he prioritize some parts of the country to use as clusters as far as manufacturing is concerned?
We're looking to prioritize we're looking to improve electricity generally, but we're looking to do it at a regional level so that different regions have different sources of power, have their different power grids. So at the initial stage, some regions might, and this is simply me, this is not Atiku, this is, some regions might quickly progress above others because then it would be easier to invite private sector equity into some regions than it would be into others. But the idea is to break it down. We don't have one. At the moment, we have one unwieldy power grid that is unable to wheel out in sufficient enough numbers the amount of electricity that we generate. And so we lose a lot of power in the process of transmission. We're looking to simple things, break it down. Invite private sector equity into the transmission grid, break it down into 6 regional grids or smaller grids, and then power those by different sources of power in the initial that are available in the different geopolitical zones. So, for instance, improve
how long does he believe it will take to fix the power grid enough to enable his manufacturing policies? How many years?
We know that in the first. What we're proposing is that in the first 4 years, we will see a radical improvement in Nigeria's power sector, Nigeria's power output in the first 4 years.
In the first 4 years.
Yes.
Okay. And then my final question, because we have just 1 minute. My final question, are investors, especially foreign investors, are they going to get into multi-year concessions in a country with this level of insecurity?
Yes and no. Yes, and they will do so cautiously, because the potential of the Nigerian nation is simply, simply monumental. But no, because they wouldn't do so in sufficient enough quantities. We will still have people putting their feet and their toes in the water as opposed to just jumping right in. Okay. And so people will continually test and try to see if they can keep a sort of viable presence. However, you need to, and we believe that we have the sort of plan that will show radical improvements in our security situation within the first 2 years.
Okay.
Right?
11, let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. Well, we're out of time. We couldn't connect to you because of your network. But thank you for your time, Ilemona. Ilemona is the head of new media for the presidential campaign of the PDP. We'll take a break. When we come back, it'll be time for the step down.
Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC FMN is committed to creating an integrated supply chain that can provide stakeholders with complete access to high-quality, fair-priced products. FMN continues to provide the needed support to its business partners through capacity development and the establishment of a sustainable route-to-market structure. Through its R&D strategy, FMN has created an agile route-to-market structure that